All right, make sure everyone turns their mics on. Look for the on-air light.
Ready for takeoff.
Oh, okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Code Ordinance Enforcement Board meeting for September 24th, 2024. At this time, we'd like to ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Rodney Davis,
Here.
James Bruce,
Here.
Tyler Young, Tony Meacham,
Here.
David Howell, Cowan Brooks, Connie McGahee, Mark Graham.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to please stand with me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which took place on September the 10th, 2024. Board members received a copy of those minutes in the mail, and at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, it's been a motion and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any reports from the staff? Fire department staff? None? Okay, next on our agenda, we have public hearings. We have 3 cases on our agenda, and Code Officer Mr. DeArmond. So I understand that the representatives for the 3rd case listed on our agenda with Pennyrow Investment Group is present. Okay, and so what we're going to do, we're going to move that case up first to allow you to go ahead and allow us to go ahead and address your case first since you're present. So before we get started, though, let me share with everyone the procedures we're going to follow for the cases tonight. So if you would bear with me a few minutes as I go over these procedures. Okay, once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Rodney Davis. I am the chairman of the City of Hopkinsville Code Ordinance Enforcement Board. The purpose of this board is to protect, promote, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens residing within the City of Hopkinsville. If a board member perceives a potential conflict with hearing a case, he or she shall recuse themselves from the case and will not discuss their disposition. When your name is called, please come forward. Speak loudly and clearly because we are required to record all proceedings from these hearings. You are here tonight because you received a citation and chose to appear before the board instead of paying the fine imposed on the citation. You have the right to confront and cross-examine any witnesses that might appear here against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses to testify on your behalf and to introduce any physical evidence you feel pertinent to this case. You have the right to have an attorney. If you wish to hire one to represent you, let me know and I will request the board postpone your case to enable you to do so. I have the right as chairman of the board to limit the amount of testimony which is presented. That shall be done when I determine that certain testimony is irrelevant or is repetitive. This is not the same as a court of law, and legal rules of evidence do not have to be followed. This is similar to an administrative hearing, and the requirements for the introduction of evidence are not as stringent as in a court of law, but they are nonetheless just as important to ensure a just decision. You shall be afforded all rights which are of fundamental importance to comply with due process standards of fairness and justice. The burden of establishing the violation occurred rests with the city. If the city cannot prove its violation took place, no fine or remedial measures may be imposed. After all the evidence and testimony have been introduced and the hearing has been closed, the board will make a decision. The board will decide whether or not a violation of a local ordinance has been committed. If the board determines no violation was committed, then this board will enter an order dismissing the citation. If the board determines that a violation did take place, the board will enter an order upholding the citation and will order you to pay a fine in an amount up to the maximum authorized by ordinance and may order you to remedy the violation within a specified period of time. In cases involving unsafe structures, the board, as part of its decision and written order, may additionally make a provision for the offender to cure the violation within a period of time not to exceed 90 days, pursuant to HCO 33.188F. Except in cases of default, any final order issued by the board may be appealed to the Christian District Court. The appeal must be filed no later than 30 days from the date issues its final order. The case in front of the Christian District Court will be limited to a review of the record created before this board. If you have any questions at this time, please feel free to ask. Okay, no questions? Okay, so we're going to call the first case. That's case number CEBPM 24-08-12, Pennyrow Investment Group. If you on the investment group and you can just stand where you are right now, I'm gonna have you all sworn in. And then once the city presents this case, then you can come forward. Okay? All right, if you would, all please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do. Okay, thank you. Ma'am, sir, you can be seated. Okay. Mr. DeArmond, can you please state your full name, employer, and position for the record? Okay. All right, Mr. DeArmond, tell us about this case that's before us tonight.
On August 28th, we got a call from a neighbor of West First Street in that neighborhood asking us to take a look at this house at 918 West First. The individual asked to be anonymous. He said there's a steady traffic of folks entering the house and the shed in the back of the house. So this is a photo of the property taken off the Google map in 2022. Well, all right. An aerial view from the current system shows its location, and the PVA records show that the property owner is Peter Isle Investments with a local mailing address at a post office box here in Hopkinsville. So on the 28th, we make the visit, and on the front of the house, you see a window open on the left. You see the broken window pane on the right, big picture window. If you go around to the right side of the home, look to the backyard, you see the trash and the junk and the clutter in the backyard. So a notice of violation on the conditions observed was posted on August 29th. No response from the property owners. On a return visit in September the 10th, nothing has changed, so we posted a citation. This shows where this address was run in the local paper, notifying the public of this hearing. The notice of violation was sent regular mail to the Penrose Island Investments. The citation was sent certified mail. Both came back returned, not deliverable. Quick review of the timeline. The inspection was on August 28th. Notice of violation for an unsafe structure was posted on the 29th. There was no conversation, no comment until September the 3rd, when Victor Bynum called reporting that he is working on behalf of Justin Morris, who is Penrose Island Investments, and asked that what he could do, if he could board the house up or otherwise protect it and take care of it to resolve this situation. I told him since it was an unsafe structure that it would take the board, it's out of the code enforcement officer's hands at that point to extend the time or give it more time. So he was invited to attend this meeting. So on September the 10th, a citation was issued. And last Friday on the 19th, Ms. Kathy Gresham, with the mother of Justin Morris, called, and we had the same conversation. I asked them both if they'd seen the house, and they had not. I described the conditions that we saw that we're going to show here momentarily, and that it is now in the hands of the board once the presentation is completed tonight, and that any other action will be taken after the board's presentation. And we're here tonight for the board meeting. The water was disconnected in October 2022, so it's been off 2 years. Electric was disconnected January this year, and the gas service has been off 3 years, disconnected 2021. In these cases, as well as all of them, our information comes from the basic property maintenance standards and the checklist provided in the appendix shown in this slide. This shows the exterior walls with a lot of rot and deterioration on several sides. Item number 3 deals with the porches. You can see the structural columns. The left one is slipping more than the one on the right, but those are out of compliance. Now, there was not access gained to the doors. The doors were locked in some ways. I'll describe the doors securely here in a second. The window on the left of the front of the house, this one you see here, and in that tear of the curtain or the covering, allowed for visibility inside that one room. On the right side of the house, there was another window open that provided access. So this inspection and these findings are based on the visibility within two windows and 2 windows only. So the doors are now secured. If you look at the center photo, the front door is held in place with that wooden wedge at the top. The garage door, it's on the left side of the structure. It's got a tear in the tarp that's covering the door, allowing for visibility in there, and that was just additional clutter and things inside that garage.
Mr. Diarman, is there a garage door behind that tarp?
No, it's open,
So it's just a tarp?
just a tarp.
Okay, thank you.
Left photograph shows a long list of trash and debris, garbage, and unidentified liquids in those containers. The photo at the top is from behind the house, from the left side. The previous photo was taken behind the house from the right side of the home. And additional garbage bags in the yard. That shed or garage at the back, the top left shows the roof gone, the windows broken. The one on the right is inside. I might add that when the neighbors called, they said there were individuals staying in the shed and individuals staying in the home, and with varying activities during the day. None of the activities were verified, just that a lot of trespassers, homeless probably, living in and out of these homes. The photo on the bottom, if you notice the date, is September the 10th on a reinspection. Suitcase at the door, supporting the fact that there's folks in and out of this home and its structures. That one window in front that allowed visibility identifies a mattress and a white bucket on the side with water off, and the odor that came from that room. I'm assuming that's their restroom. Electric meter, again, the power was pulled by ETS in January. The gas was turned off 3 years ago. This is that side window to the right side of the house where was or would be a bathroom with all the fixtures gone. So the checklist for the exterior found 5 out of 7 of the applicable items in violation, or 71%. Of the areas of the foundations that I could see, I saw no real concerns with the foundations, nor the roof. But item number 9, the trash and the garbage and the debris and the concerns of illegal activities and drug paraphernalia was pretty prevalent in and around the house. Again, the inside structure was only visible through those 2 windows. The structure was accessible. The walls were not plumbed. There was a hole in that one wall. The floors I could not determine, so it's left in question, as well as the electrical outlets. Even though the electrical was turned off, there was no sign of the electrical outlets to look at through that window. The ceilings had issues and water damage, and it was a single story, so no stairs. Electric meter has been pulled. The structure, whether it had a fuse panel or circuit breaker box, it was not found, so it could not be identified. Gas meter has been removed, and the plumbing fixtures were inoperable, not in place, and the water's been off. 7 out of 10 applicable, or 70% for the interior. The shed in the back both had roof and wall damage. The overall condition, the owner has allowed it to get in that condition. Highlight the fact that it is dangerous and a risk to the neighbors. Overall is 12 out of 17 possible, or 71%, meeting the criteria for an unsafe structure. Between taxes and liens, there's $1,048 and change as of yesterday, in speaking with the tax city hall. As of yesterday, the structure has not changed. Nothing's changed at this property.
Okay, Mr. DeArmond, let me ask the question, and then I'm going to give the rest of the board members an opportunity. My only question has to do, if you go back toward the beginning to your timeline, okay, right there. Okay. So I noticed you first inspection on the 28th, and then you issued an NOV on the 29th. The NOVs are not mandatory. It's more, what's the term y'all use? Complimentary or whatever? Courtesy. But I'm just curious, did the NOV state or identify to the property owner what needed to be corrected? And was there a timeline given to
10
correct those
days.
things?
And 10 days to get in touch with our office to talk about the matter and what they can do in order for us to extend the time before it goes to a citation.
Okay, so 10 days to get in touch with the office.
Correct.
Not to correct anything you didn't do.
Just to have a discussion and create a plan as to their intentions.
Okay. And from your belief, you could have gone straight to a citation. Is that correct? Do you feel you could have gone?
This is one of those cases because of the neighbors, because of the concerns,
Okay,
because of the reported illegal activities in the area. And what I saw, it was considered
okay,
and discussed as 2. But when we go to a straight citation, it is just that, and it takes away the opportunity for us to have a conversation. We did not have a conversation with the owner, yet we had a conversation from an individual representing them.
okay.
But Yes, that was
Okay.
the fault.
And that was about 5 days later, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions for Mr. DeArmond by board members?
Yeah, he mentioned the gas meter was pulled and the electric meter pulled, but the meter was still there. They just cut it off.
They cut it off at their office.
Okay, but you take that as being pulled,
I called and confirmed.
that there's no electricity.
That's
pulled.
correct.
And then the meter, what do they do? Just come with a pipe wrench and turn it off
gas?
there at the meter?
Yes.
At the gas meter?
Yes.
But they haven't pulled it?
No.
Okay. And, but they stopped selling gas to it or a couple years ago.
A phone call is made to all three utilities asking when the service was disconnected.
Okay.
Yes. And those dates come from them,
Okay.
from the three utility services.
Is that common for the electric company now just to flip a switch on at their office?
It's all computerized and yes, they can do it that way.
Rather than walk out and actually pull the meter from the wall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the gas company the same way?
I won't promise you that they can do that, they can do it electronically. I'm not sure
No,
about that. I don't
doubt
think
that.
so.
I think-
I'm not
take
aware of it. I
pipe
think it
wrench.
is a pipe wrench and the disconnect on the pipeline.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Were they saying anybody was actually like living in that place or
Yes,
like homeless or?
yes. It's believed to be homeless.
Make sure you use your mic when
Oh,
you're
I'm
speaking
sorry.
too. Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
So we can pick up. Okay, any other questions from board members?
Just to clarify, so you didn't go into the home because the doors themselves were secured, but from your observation, if a person wanted to access the inside of that structure, they could do so fairly easily, correct?
I leaned up against the door to knock before I saw the wedge at the top, and I saw the door move in.
Okay.
When I did, I stopped knocking, I looked and I saw the wedge, I didn't try anymore.
Yeah, I guess where I'm headed is if a person wanted to access the structure, they could between
Oh,
the
absolutely.
open windows, broken windows, the garage tarp.
The window could have gone in easily and just leaned against the door and it would have opened.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, sir, thank you. Okay, ma'am, sir, can y'all come up to the podium, please? Okay, before you begin, I know you've been sworn in. Can you please state for me or for the board your full name and address for the record?
I'm Victor Bynum with AABC Construction. I live at 302 West 13th Street. I'm a local contractor and property manager.
Okay. Okay, and ma'am?
I'm Kathy Gresham, Justin's mom. I live at 105A Kaufman Drive, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And I've got my power of attorney.
That's not necessary.
Huh? I didn't know if y'all needed it for me to speak on his behalf.
Okay, so you're representing who now?
Justin Morris, the one that owns, it's his grandparents' property. It's my
Okay.
son's grandparents' property.
Okay,
That's
just,
in
The
question.
property is under Penround
Plat-
Investment.
oh, okay.
It's under Penround. It's not Platinum right now. It's Penround
Okay.
Investment Group.
and this Justin Morris
It's my son.
is your son, and he represents that investment group, I guess.
Yes.
He's tied to that investment group, okay. And Mr., you said
Bynum.
Byam?
Yes, sir.
Byam. And you're not only in construction, property, you the property manager?
Yes, I act on his behalf because she's not healthy enough like she used to be to get
Yes.
around to take care of some stuff. So I got involved with them. I've been here before with the Green Building, a couple of the properties that he's got going on throughout
Okay.
town because she physically can't do what she needs to do. And when I get notices, I go act.
Okay, Okay, well, so I don't know which one of you want to speak or both of you, but tell us about this property.
Okay, the long and short of it, there's a gentleman named James Campbell who made the phone call about the activity over there. Mr. Campbell and I have some business where I repaired his house. He lives in the property directly behind. And he notifies me like in the middle of the night. He's a retired veteran like I am, and he lets me when there's a problem, if there's a problem, because it was two individuals that were supposed to be originally in the property to gut it so we can do repairs. This was back in December of last year, because they were homeless. They were a homeless couple, and they used to rent from him at the Green Building, but because of mental issues with the young lady and him, he couldn't keep a job. She couldn't and wouldn't do anything but seek out drugs, and that became a problem over in that area already. So we removed them from that property because we had 7 apartments. There's 7 apartments in that building. Come a week or so later, I get a phone call saying there's people inside of this property in question. So I go over there. Here they are, the couple, hiding out inside the building. I had the police come out there. They talked to them, trespassed them from the property. Lo and behold, did I not know there was Mike on the bike. I know all their names because I deal with them on a daily basis. There's about 5 or 6 culprits in this whole situation. The gentleman with the suitcase is a Mexican young man that you'll see him throughout time riding a bicycle. He keeps, the cops, most of them know he is a problem. He is a big problem. So I had him removed from the property, and he comes up there. He broke into the property several times. We boarded the property up. You see that from the original pictures they showed to now. We painted the property. At one point, we had all the windows boarded up. I was the one that called in January to have the power removed because they were in there pop lighting, and it was a fire hazard waiting to happen. They were in there trying to use the electrical that was on because we were in the process of remodeling. We done went and tore out some of the walls and was going in the process of gutting it and removing it because he wanted to make it into a duplex because the structure, the way it's set up, put a wall down the middle, firewall, it could be made into a duplex, which is what his ultimate plan is. He was going to get some grant that's available to the city for multifamily homes. He found out about, he wanted to make it into a multifamily thing like he did with the Green Building. That was my involvement with it. He has another young man who lives in the Green Building that was supposed to go over there. He was the one who painted it gray. And we took down the garage door because in and of itself, these people that kept coming in and out, it was sooner or later somebody was going to get killed with this door. So we did, and honestly, I took the door down because I saw it as being a hazard to some idiot who kept coming to the property, breaking into the property. Sooner or later, we're going to go through that door, it's going to fall on them, and we're going to find them there. And then I also took the door off because when the door was there, they would go into the garage because there's a concrete slab in there, and they literally had a grill base, and they were using it to heat during the wintertime. So when Mr. Campbell informed me of all that, I had the police come out there, remove everybody from the property. They cited everybody. I was done with it. Boarded the place up. Justin came down a couple of weeks later, removed the window units because the place was heated with window units. That's why the gas was removed. They didn't have reason to because the window units in and of themselves had 220 and they had heat and cool air. We went in there, we removed all the plumbing, so they had no reason to go. We also removed all the electrical wires, so they had no access to anything else. That's why, again, we're in the process of remodeling. Justin has some issues going on. He moved to Louisville. He's been in Louisville with another fourplex he's got up there, and between that property and the other stuff he's got legally going on, he's focused on that. And then I think it's that together. The plan was to go back into his grandmother, this home, this property right here. But in the meantime, I agree with Mr. Yarmont. The plan of action we had in place and that I've discussed with Justin was to go ahead and tear down that shed because that seems to be where most of the drugs and most of the people that know the cops are coming, they hide out in there in the middle of the night. That's the only place they can get into anymore. The front door he's referring to, it was kicked in with the police going in there to remove the people the first time. So the couple that were there, who are still there, the young man, he just walked through here a few minutes ago, asked me if he wanted to come, if y'all wanted to hear from him. This has been a structure that they keep the majority of the riffraff because there's quite a few, as y'all know by now, I'm sure you heard about, there's too many homeless people. And Justin is trying to set up a situation where he can have he's got a couple of lots and he's got a couple of properties where he can help with that. But right now, until he gets the other stuff straightened out in Louisville and the finances get involved, we can't really do what we need to do in that area because the properties across the street got tore down. He's in the process of doing that lot next door and all that other stuff to try to get some of that stuff so we can go ahead and make something at least temporarily to help with that area. But every time I get a phone call from Mr. Jim, he's the one that makes the calls. He usually calls me first, but there are times when he can't just call me at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He calls the police, which is what I told him to do and what Justin told him to do. So as far as here recently, 80% of the headache is gone. There's still that one individual that we got to catch, and they're trying to catch him over there. They got cameras up. They did put cameras right there on that street in that corner, so that should address that issue with regard to him. But as far as unsafe structure, we propose right now, got the plywood and stuff boarded completely up, concrete board and everything else to lock it down and inside. I've got the door. It's on the trailer, which is in Louisville still. She drove down from Louisville because she had to go up there with her granddaughter. It's on the trailer. So we got a door, a steel reinforced door that we're going to put up on the front of the structure. I can wall off that garage to keep them from getting into the main structure. Because, like I said, I've got some plans here, rough drawing. I don't know how I was projected there, but of what the plan is and going forward. And within 90 days, I can secure the place completely. I've already got the police aware of it. Like I said, when they catch her, she's going to jail. She'll be gone for a couple of months into treatment and stuff like that. And then the one little Mexican guy. And then all my little drug problems over there. I got Mr. Campbell who will call. You guys, they will hear about it if anybody's over there. And so I've got what I can in place because I'm also doing chemo and stuff like that too. But I can get the place locked down because he really don't want to lose his house. This is his grandmother's home. And I get it, but he wants to make it a duplex. Got the plans in place. Whatever needs to be submitted to you guys or whatever y'all need from me as far as a timeline, within 90 days, I can get the place secured and all the other issues that whatever y'all suggest to me, I can make happen.
Okay, so yeah, I hear what you're saying. Here's the issue though. There seems to be a lot of things going on in that on that property, and not only that it's becoming a nuisance to the community and the homeless and all that, but there are some structural issues with that property too. Now, I understand you're saying that you can secure it within 90 days, but still that property would be in violation of numerous ordinances. Just having it secured, securing it is a good first step, but that's really nowhere close to getting it where, I know you're saying this couple or these people want to remain living there.
No. I've dealt with that issue with him because he'd be the only one left around that area. Because we do have a room available back up the Greenville. Without her, he's fine. He can work at the factory. But my problem with this structure, because of the location and that area is that's one of the problems with the drugs and the areas in the city. That is one of yet today is a hot spot for them. So in tearing down that structure right next door, tearing down the shed, that can eliminate. And as far as I can put all the windows in there tomorrow, but they'll break in. And that's something with any of the households over in that area. But that's where my problem is, and that's where Justin's problem has been. So if I'm allowed to put what I need up there until I can get it together within the 90 days to get someone that with the power back on, with everything on there, and get it inspected, framing inspection, that can take about 90 days to get done. The floors are solid, the floors are level. There's no holes in the floors. There's nothing other than walls need to be rewired and the place inspected on the inside of it. The outside, there's a couple more. He's got siding out at his other property. He's got siding in the storage to put up siding on the outside of it, which should bring it up to code because the outside holes in the wall, there's 3 places where the wood is just rotted that needs to be replaced in the entire outside structure. The garage door isn't going to be a garage door anymore. It's going to be framed indoor because it's going to be closed off. The front window, that main big window in the front that's busted out, that happened from someone They had a shootout down the way and the window got busted. It's an 8x8 window from I don't know when the house was built, but I mean, it needs to be tore out anyway and reduced in size because somebody could just literally walk through the window if they needed to, break it in or not. So, I mean, I know how to secure it because I own 1212 Walnut Street, and that was a nightmare in and of itself. And I was allowed to board it up and, get it together and then work on it. But my pledge is to get what he needs done to secure it and get it ready within 90 days as possible, because there's really nothing structurally, interior wise. The outside looks bad, but we painted it, tried to make it look appeasing. There's no roof structural damage. There's no flooring structural damage. So
Okay.
it's weather tight with the windows and stuff being boarded up.
Okay, so I think I understand a little more what you're saying, but here's the issue. Despite the fact that that part of town deals with a lot of drugs and crime and other things like that, the city itself, the city of Hopkinsville, can't be enabling that behavior still by just allowing a property to be out of ordinance. We can't cite someone else in another part of town with these violations and just ignore that part of town. You understand?
That's correct.
So, and what you're proposing of securing the building within 90 days is great, but I think it needs to be a step further than that. And since the case has now appeared before this board, we're limited in the amount of time that we can allow you to bring it up to code standards, not just securing it.
When I say securing it, I mean, it needs to be secured immediately. The 90 days that I would need to go ahead and put the structural wall that I need to put in for down the road, I can get the place where someone can move in and get it inspected within 90 days. That's not the problem, because again, if an engineer walked in there and saw the inside for what we have structural, there's no termite damage that was treated 3 years ago. There's nothing structurally on the inside. It looks bad because it's just an old house, but there's nothing structurally that would prevent the framing work that needs to be put in place for the place to be habitable.
Mr. Victor, let me ask a question. You called in on the 3rd. When were you made aware that the violation was posted or the notice of violation was posted?
The neighbor who made the call initially,
Mhm.
I asked him what was going on because he left me a message and I got the message from him. And he called me. He said, "You need to get over here because the Mexican was back over there. He keeps trying to help me catch him." And I went over there and then I saw the notice on the door. And then I called Justin. I left him a message to get in touch with me and see what the plans were to go forward. And then I think I left you an email also. I left her an email also to let her know that they needed to get up to codes, because she's already asked me before to go out there and clear the area. And I've had the yard cleaned up. I've had to go out there multiple times to get it cleaned up because it would be a lot worse. And so when I got notified of what was going on, I started being proactive. I contacted the police department. They increased the patrol around there. They work with me pretty well over there. And if I call them, they go out there, and if they find somebody, they take them to jail.
So from the day you found out till the day you called in,
Yes.
how many days was that?
I called in that day when I actually got the physical notice in my hand and went out there and talked to them. When I actually made it over.
So from the 3rd of September, today is the 24th. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Today's the 24th. What have you done to do anything on that property besides ask people to get out?
That was the main thing. I contacted Justin. He's been tied up with some stuff going on with the other property, because I just need him to give me the green light to go ahead and tear it down. I contacted Mr. DeArmond and asked him what I could do. In the meantime, he told me not to go out there and try to fix anything up because it was out of his hands. He couldn't make that call for me. He could extend it or anything else like that because he didn't know how this would play out and for giving the opportunity to do the repairs. So that's why I put everything on hold. And then that's why Justin said, well, let's go to the hearing. And, and then his daughter got sick, so he couldn't make it down here from Louisville. And that's why we're here now, because we were just laying it on you guys to give us an opportunity to make it right.
So my understanding is your testimony in 90 days, you'll have his house brought up to code.
Yes.
electrical, gas,
But doesn't
Water,
gas, we're gonna.
the structure.
Yes. That's the plan that he.
No, that's not,
Sorry.
your testimony is in 90 days, you would have there's a timeline in like 30 days or something. You have to have a plan presented to the,
Yes.
to the code, to
Those
enforcement.
We gotta get. the
And then
permits and stuff
and then
like that.
have this done. Otherwise, track hoes are gonna be heading out that direction.
If I can take that Silverado out there and pull it down myself, I'll be right there with it. Cause that's where I'm at with it.
So you also testified that
Sorry.
you got plans in front of you for all this?
Yes. What?
So you have an estimation of cost to do all that?
Yes. Just in materials alone, it's gonna take about 25, because I use Rodney's discount sales, Inside Trader Secret. It's gonna take about $25,000 to get this thing to what he wants, which is a duplex. That's with firewalls and everything else, and get the inspections and everything else that we need, the architectural designs to present to the guys over here. It's gonna run right at 25.
And what's your anticipated start date?
And we're told that if y'all are gonna tear it down. He's been made aware. Justin, he's given her the power of attorney to make the calls, and between the funds that they have available, I'll get out there, board up to get it secured, so I can't get people coming in stealing materials out there. And it's just every day until I know the neighbors pretty well, so I can work from 6 to 6 if I need to with my crew. So
And you said you're gonna tear down that storage building.
absolutely, I've been one that's gone forever.
Okay.
I'll tear that down tonight. I'm telling you, I'm that done with that building.
Okay, so Mr. Baum, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if you are really, I'm not sure if you really seen the big picture of what we're looking at as far as bringing up the code. Meaning like what Mr. Bruce said about gas, electric, there needs to be the proper living fixtures in there.
Oh, I've done with you guys before.
the whole works.
You guys have had me do that with the green building. And I had
Windows repaired and replaced, door repaired and replaced. In addition, there is a lot of debris, trash around that property that must be cleaned up. And the interior, I don't know what the conditions are there, sanitary wise, with people living there. There's could be other health related things that have to be addressed. So you got the right picture of what we're talking about here?
Absolutely. This is not my first rodeo with this type of properties. Like I said, the green building was a nightmare, and we got it done within 2 weeks. So, and I mean, literally.
I
It's
get,
not my first time dealing with these old houses.
And so if this work and what you're proposing is not done within 90 days, you understand that the city can take action on their own to abate.
Absolutely. And I've made that crystal clear to them.
And-
She's
and-
listened to me before.
And I say that because if you're talking about investing $25,000 to bring this up to code, you might be throwing $25,000 down the drain if you can't meet that target.
$6,000 lien if y'all have to tear it down and, build from the ground up. I played it to him both ways. He wants to keep the house. He wants to rebuild it. So he already knows the tornado headed towards him. So when I call and say, I need this check, that's what needs to happen. And we've been clear on that. That's why he gave her the power of attorney to do so, make it happen. So I'm acting on behalf of what he wants and what she's been clear. We both had this conversation with him about what that house is. Sentiment aside, it's not something that he can just throw a couple $100s at. It's just not feasible to do that. So he's been made aware. It's a green building.
Mr. Bynum, since you're his property manager and been that way for a little while, I'm assuming, how long has that property sat there with nobody living in it? Because we know the the water's been off since 22. The electric's been off, we're
I turned it off
approaching a
in January.
year.
I turned it off in January because of
Mhm.
people people, I'm sorry. I turned that power off myself because I kept people just, oh, it's power there. So they were, I mean,
Right.
that was just everybody's opportunity to go over and charge phones and everything else like that. So that was yeah, I
But
did that.
how long has it been since someone has physically?
Are you able to silence that phone?
Hold on, that's what I'm working on.
Sorry, this is a formal meeting here. Just
Yeah.
cut that off if you could.
Oh, Jesus. That building, I don't know what's going on over there. I didn't. Cancel.
As far as me, I mean, I'm here because, like I said, to represent Justin in every way I can. And he knows I'm willing to help him financially get what we need to do, get this plan going and get this done. He truly, truly does not want to lose his that was his dad's parents' house, and Justin grew up in it.
Okay.
And
Ms. Gresham, how long, the question I was proposing to him, how long has that house been since it's been habitated
well,
by someone that was authorized to live there?
we had a guy living at the Green Building. Well, he was begging us to move over to First Street, and he was gonna do some work. And he lived over there probably a year, didn't he, at least?
How
That
long
was,
ago has that been?
It's been a year, a little year
About
and
a year or
a half. Year and
two.
a half.
Well, he would have had to have water, though. I mean,
Correct. That's the point I was
see,
fixing
that's
to
why
make.
I'm trying to think, how did he
No,
live there
because
with no,
that was, you're talking about the one that lived in apartment one.
yeah,
He had the water on, but
illegally?
come to find out, that's why I had the meter pulled. That's why.
Oh, my
That's why
gosh.
So,
They had the service turned off, but it was still on.
Get straight.
illegally.
Okay.
So the point I'm making, it's been over 2 years
Yeah.
since
I understand.
anyone's done anything with that property at all.
It's been a year and a half since.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's kind of begin to wrap this up. 'Cause I think we've heard enough. And you understand the concern this board has. And that our other board members make a good point. You've expressed your son's desire to keep this home, which was his childhood home, yet it's been unattended for years. And so it kind of brings the question to us, the true dedication and commitment to this. And that's what we want you to just make sure you understand. So I think we've heard enough from you two. What I would like to do is ask Mr. Arman if you would come back up. I got another question for you and maybe the board, and then we're going to move on and make our decision. So, Mr. DeArmond, you've heard the testimony of these two. I want to know from your opinion, your experience, is it reasonable for us to believe that this property can be brought up to code, in which you know the code and what we're thinking in this 9-day window that they're requesting and that can be done? We're just asking your opinion. It's not a right or wrong answer.
The opinion of no is based on not confirming that they could secure the finances, not confirming that they can get the proper permits and the inspections done. And if the finances and the materials are not there, and we're going into fall and winter weather, the codes did not allow for excuses or leniency with bad weather. And with the neighbors and the folks that's there and the activities in that neighborhood, it's going to be a constant battle throughout the process.
Okay.
My answer is no.
Okay. I just want to know your opinion. Board members, y'all have any other questions for Mr. DeArmond? And then do y'all have any other questions for Mr. Byam and Mrs. Grissom? And then we're going to move on.
I guess I'd just like to make a statement and let you confirm this for me, Mr. DeArmond. My understanding, if the desire is to renovate the structure, the standard is the Kentucky Residential Code. It's got to be completed within a period. Has expressed a skepticism whether that's possible, but this board is also not the ones that are going to be swinging the hammer. So I say that with respect. But the other question I have for you is that I believe the case is that you have 45 days that's embedded within the 90 to get an approved plan through CDS. Is that correct, Mr. DeArmond? So you've got 45 days maximum to get an approved plan at CDS before you can start doing the work. So obviously the advice is to get that part done like tomorrow. And it sounds like you have a plan. And you've expressed that you have done similar projects and you believe you can get it done in the 90-day period, correct?
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. DeArmond or for Mr. Byam or Ms. Christian?
I have one. If we give you time to get this
Step back
property,
up to the podium,
Yeah.
sir.
to get this property up to code, to come in there and build it, can you have it boarded up to where you can keep out those individuals?
That can happen tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I'm talking about
How
that big
quickly?
picture window completely boarded up, the front door where they, not hooked up there with a wedge on the front of it, the garage boarded up, and the back building, just, you said you'd tear it down with your pickup truck tonight. I don't want you doing that tonight. But so now I just wanted to see if we did do that, that's what you're thinking you
That's
can,
my plan of action.
and then clean it up.
Oh, yes.
You have a crew to go over and pick up all the trash. Saw tires, everything else over there. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I do. Mr. Gretchen, what is your son's intentions for this? Is he planning on using it as a rental home or has he compared the rent in that neighborhood? Has he checked the other renting houses that rent in that neighborhood for comparison?
800, between 850 for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom. Because if he does what he wants, it'll be a 2-bedroom. So he'll get about $1,600 minimum from the property as far as after it's done. That's probably what he'll take in just on the basis of 800 to 850. He might get, more than that, but 850 is where it is. But if it's a 1-bedroom, and if he uses, the Salvation Army has a rapid housing plan, and they got criteria that we looked into that a single person or a single family has to be with 2 people. I think it's like 900 or 950 a month is what they're allowed for. And then you've got, that's without anything, but with utilities included in it, it's like $1,500 they'll pay for a person to go in there. And that's what and they pay that for like a year if we use that program, not counting if we use Section 8, if it's up to codes for Section 8. So if it's got to get up to codes to Kentucky, it'd be up to codes for Section 8. So it's that simple. And so we've gone over the numbers. So it's a viable situation. He'll make money off the property. It won't be it won't be nothing for the next year, so he won't make a profit off of it. But within 2 years, he can make his money.
But it's a house and a garage and an outbuilding?
There's approximately a 12 by 14 building that's right next to it that was just a storage unit that the homeless people have just gravitated for because they can't. I don't know if it's in their logic or their head. They don't think because we're not in the house, we can't get in trouble for being in this building because the trespassers for the building, the house, they all do this. I've dealt with it in other areas. If there's an outside structure in your property, they got it in their head, they can go in there and they won't get as much trouble as if they would breaking into the actual main structure. So you'll find a lot of these homeless people camping out or living in people's outhouses and structures. That's their go-to thing, or along the river, as y'all know by now. So that's been the biggest problem I've had with most of these properties here in Hopkinsville with Mr. Hancock and a couple other people. The homeless people are living in the outside structures. They're not living in the main house because most of them get in trouble for that, but they leave them alone or just let them go if they're in the outside building. And that's where my problem is.
Okay,
Okay, you
Okay, I
answered my
think-
question.
I think we can move on, 'cause I think we've heard enough about how that all works, okay? So, being no further questions, as chairman, I'm gonna close the hearing on this case so the board can now deliberate in open session. Sir, you can have a seat.
Thank you.
So the board can deliberate in open session. We need to determine, first of all, whether or not a violation has taken place of our ordinance. Entertaining a motion in a second, and the floor is open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the city has presented sufficient evidence that a violation has occurred.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, next we need to determine the penalty for this case by motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion. The penalty runs from 350 minimum, 700 maximum, plus there's a $200 administration fee.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we issue the $350 fine plus the $200 administration fee. We grant the property owner 90 days to renovate the property. And we're going to stipulate that the shed is torn down
Immediately.
And
Boarded up.
And we understand that if they fail to comply within that 90-day period, that it will default to the tear down list. So,
Trash cleaned up.
Okay,
yes, let's add to that stipulation that the trash needs to be cleaned up immediately too.
And the windows boarded.
The securing of.
Can we ask if Mr. Army can go back in and inspect it from the inside?
they'll work that
Okay.
with.
Yeah, and I'm afraid with something like that, I feel like we're kind of pulling the thread on a sweater. They're already cited for it, and
Right.
they've got to give Mr. DeArmond a plan of action that will bring the property to building code. Why make anything take more time?
Yes.
You know,
Okay, is there a second on the
Second.
motion? Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Opposed?
Nay.
And the ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Grisham, since you have power of attorney, well, there's some paperwork, if you hold on, the clerk will bring it to you for you to sign. Yes. Yes, you can, we'll bring the paper to you. If you just hold on for. That's okay. Okay, we're going to continue on our agenda. Go back to the top of our list for the public hearings, and we're going to call case number CEBPM -24-08-007. Mr. DeArmond, you're the code officer still, and is there a James Williams present? Okay, all right, so Mr. DeArmond, we're going to have you present this case before us.
1024 Wood Street, on the corner of Wood and Cottage. The complaint came in from Code Officer Darnell West while he was in the neighborhood looking at grass cases. He noticed this structure was empty and vacant, and the front door was open and it had some obvious damage to the front. May 22nd, the Google Map view of the house. Property is owned by James Williams, with the still maintaining the 1024 Wood Street mailing address. So on August 15th, when we made the inspection, went around the front of the door. We'll get to the front here momentarily. Got to the back, we see just subboard, and the door looks to be cracked, but in fact it's just screwed into place. The front door we went in was piled with dog feces and dog food and scrap dog food and such. Notice of violation was issued for an unsafe structure on August the 21st. No contact, no information from anyone. Returned inspection on September the 6th. Found the conditions the same, and the citation was posted and sent certified mail to the property owner. The receipt for the notice of violation and the citation are here for your review. Recap: this was on August the 15th. The inspection was conducted. The notice of violation was issued on August the 20th. No communication, no conversation. Reinspection found the property in the same condition. Citation was issued on November the 6th. And to date, there's still been no conversations. Water was disconnected in October of 2020. Electricity was disconnected in 2022. Gas was disconnected in 2014. There's several examples of foundation damage. You see the crack in the block there in the center. Exterior damage to the walls, some holes, and then no exterior finish to the back of the house. The porch has considerable cracks both in the concrete slab and the foundation, plus some damage to the roof and its overhang. There was a portion of a tree on the roof from a previous storm that has been removed, and it created a soft spot that's still hid by some of the tree branches still laying on the roof or covering the roof. There were some broken windows, and again, this front door, this photo doesn't show it, but the front door, not the storm door, but the main door was open, had some 6-8 inches when we went back to go in. And again, the conditions, you see the walls, the floors, the photo on the right shows a portion of the floors even gone. Trash and debris.
Would you go
was
back?
all through the house. I'm sorry?
Would you go back to that previous picture?
Certainly.
On the right, is this in the living space?
Yes,
And I'm seeing block over there.
yes, foundation.
I
That's
don't
the outside.
understand. So the wall is up above. Has the wall come up off the block? Or the
The,
block is
The
settled?
seal plate between the block and the wall studs
Mhm.
is rotten and gone.
Gotcha. The floor fell in.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yes. Sir. See water damage in the ceiling. Electric, it was cut off 2 years ago. Same example, the meter is still in place, but it is shut off. Go inside to the breaker box, all the wires been stripped and robbed from the breaker box and through the walls. Then some damaged outlets. Gas has been off 20 years, literally 20 years. This cabinet was the only sign of a sink or where a sink would or could have been. No other fixtures were seen inside the structure. Again, the checklist that we use, 7 out of the 8 applicable found were in violation, 88%. Inside, 10 out of 10 were in violation. Overall, 17 out of 18 or 94%, the structure in violation as an unsafe structure. This year, there's been some previous tall grass and some of those tree limbs cases filed. Total liens and property taxes, some $4,500. The breakdown you see there with taxes and liens separated. As of yesterday midday, things still remain the same.
Okay, Mr. Yarman, I know you sent out the NOV and citation. It looks like you sent it to the same address of this structure. Was there mail or anything accumulating at this structure?
Based upon the mailbox on the porch, Mr. Chairman did have some documents in it. I didn't pull them to look at.
Okay,
We go to the source that we have for official mailings is the PVA office and those records. And that's this here on the right. See Mr. Williams' address at 1024 Wood Street, and the mailing address is 1024 Wood Street.
okay. And other than posting in the Kentucky New Era, there's no other attempts that that you make to contact or find another reasonable address for Mr. Williams, correct?
We use those addresses, and
Okay.
the documents are sent.
To the
Certified.
address on the record,
Yeah.
okay. All right. There any other questions for Mr. DeArmond, board members? Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to close the hearing on this case. The board can deliberate here in open session, and we have to determine whether a violation existed by a motion and a second. But the board is open, but the floor is open for discussion also.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the city has proved that a violation has occurred at this property.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second. Any questions on the motion? All right, all in favor, let me know by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, the penalty, minimum amount is $350, maximum $700, plus there's a $200 administrative fee. And we'll.
Chairman, I move that we assess the minimum fee, $350, $200 administrative fee, and that the city be, go ahead and add this to the list to tear down.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next case, which is CEBPM-24-08-001, Gloria Northington Estate. Is anyone representing that estate here? Okay, it doesn't seem to be. Okay, so Mr. DeArmond, you prepared to tell us about this next property?
Got a bit of a story to tell with this one. 947 Hayes came to our attention during the storm. It was down trees and tall grass. This photo shows August. We'll get to August here in a minute. This is a structure in the photo taken in 2022. Shows that the property is owned by the Gloria Northington Estate, living in Covington, Kentucky. But we're going to start in April. So the initial contact about this property came in April due to grass, some conditions of the outside that you see in the photo to the right. So the inspection started on April 15th, not as an unsafe structure, but as some violations of basic property maintenance standards, both exterior and interior, because the back door was open. So on April the 18th, an NOV was issued for basic property maintenance violations. Again, some exterior, some interior. After any conversation or any communication, citation during the second inspection, the citation was then issued on April 29th. And in May 13th, I got a call from a Mrs. Covington. Apparently there's several. It wasn't Gloria, because Miss Gloria has passed away. So she, in this conversation, and I'll paraphrase it, she realizes the house has been empty for a long time. There are a lot of siblings around, some here in town, some out of state. And I told her of the conditions. She was fearful of the liability that would fall upon them if children got in there. So she asked that I send her a copy of the consent release form. She was going to sign it and send it back, and we were going to go from a basic property maintenance case to an unsafe structure case with permission to remove it. That was the conversation on May 13th. Emailed that consent release form on May 14th. And on June 21st, I've been called before that and sent emails and to no response. So it fallen quiet all that time. So back in August of 28, another inspection of the property. The conditions say the same. However, initially in April, we were able to make entry because the back door was unlocked. Went back in, looked at the conditions again, followed the checklist, and this time it met the criteria for an unsafe structure. So we started afresh. Rather than go straight to a citation, we started afresh with a new NOV on August 29th. After no response and no change, citation was issued on September the 10th. There is a NOV that we issued. The citation that was issued, and you see the NOV still in place when I put the citation, so not been touched. We sent the citation certified mail. There's a receipt. Then September the 19th, I get a call from Mr. Lewis Woodard. Mr. Woodard was a name I'd not heard over these months. He's a nephew. He lives in Odessa, Texas. He says the family members, and again, I'm paraphrasing, I'm putting words in his mouth. The family member says he has the best job of anybody, so they're going to give him the house and the responsibility. And he thought it was being secured. He thought the yard was being mowed. He thought it was fine until I described it to him. And I said, it's going before the board. You're welcome to attend, or any other family member, but we got to present it because of its condition. And I did hear from him again this past Friday, sent him the consent release, even though it's not in his name. I thought if we'll start it, if he wanted to sign it and get started, we'll have it. Again, crickets. So the board meeting, here we are, but that's the story from April. Water's been disconnected since 2019. Electricity's been off since 2019, all of them 5 years off, 2019. 5 years, utility's been off of this structure.
Is that when Miss Northington passed away? Is that when Miss Northington passed away? 19?
She passed away. I've heard she
So they
passed
all
away in
went
April
on.
of this year, 2024. Someone else has said it was 23. I thought the obituary said April of 24, but I won't hold that. But no, she's only been gone 2 years at most. Makes me wonder which Northington I spoke with. I think Mr. Woodard thinks it's Rhonda Worthington, Northington, but we're not sure. So anyway, the checklist was followed. Not much damage to the foundation that can be seen, but you see the exterior damage, and that one on the right, that is a hole all the way through, and that window air conditioning unit, that is just a shell. There is nothing there to prevent water from going in that direction. If you look real close to these arrows, you see a couple of depressions in the roof, and that'll come to light with some damage inside here shortly. There was some windows broken. The security door in the front porch was secure. Once you got into the front porch, that door obviously was not. The photo on the bottom is the entrance to the back door, and you see some deterioration around some windows. There's a 3-sided shed, open garage, if you will, in the back, and it had some materials and trash. See the water damage and some of the damage on the walls and ceilings. That's in the vicinity of where those depressions are in the roof. The top photograph was taken back in July. The bottom one was taken just late August. That OSB board, that subfloor, was really pretty spongy from July to August, and that was the entrance. And if you look at the photo on the right, the part that's circled, you see the separation in the floor from below the floor baseboard, and that's again in the area where that soft roof is. In this case, the meter has been pulled. There is a circuit breaker panel inside. There was no wires, no open portions. But there was a breaker box, and you see some pulled wires from floor mounted outlets, and indications of homeless in there because you see the char marks on the floors. Gas meters, again, 5 years. Plumbing under the sink, the drain line has been cut away. The fixtures are there in place, but again, water's been disconnected for 5 years. Exterior is 5 out of 7, or 71%. Again, the foundation and the porch structures were not in violation. Interior, the first part of the interior structure was all in an issue. When the structure has a breaker box, albeit the power is off, and we did not pull the coverage to see if there's any wires in there, but there was no open holes, so we did not hold that against them. And the gas and the plumbing, 9 out of 10, or 90% for the interior and fixtures. Overall, 14 of the 17 potential, or 82%, meeting the unsafe criteria. See the previous citations that were issued in April, violations in a citation, and Mr. Woodard did say he did pay off some liens. Maybe that's the reason that there is 0 liens, but there are some taxes, so it's $89 in taxes based upon information from City Hall. And today, still the same.
Mr. DeArmond, you said the last person you spoke to was a nephew, correct?
Correct.
And you talked to him about a consent,
Yes,
and you emailed that to him,
Friday.
but you never got a response after that?
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. DeArmond? Board members? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to close the hearing on this case so the board can deliberate in open session. We need to determine if a violation existed on this property by a motion and a second and a vote. But the floor is open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, based on the testimony and evidence, I'd like to make a motion the property is in violation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we need to determine the penalty for this case. The fine ranges from $350 minimum to $700 maximum, plus there's a $200 administrative fee.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter the minimum fine of $350, $200 administrative fee, and that the city be instructed to go ahead with demolition of the property.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Okay. Next on agenda, unfinished business other than hearing, there's none. New business other than hearings, there is none. Announcements from members or staff. Well, I want to formally welcome, is it Mr. Graham, Mark
Yes, sir.
Graham,
Yes, sir.
to the board. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, we have some interesting cases that come before us sometime, but we appreciate you giving up your time to assist us here. Okay. So if there's nothing further, are we meeting in 2 weeks? Second Tuesday. We'll be meeting second Tuesday in October. Okay. All right. If nothing further, y'all have a good evening. We'll stand adjourned.
Thank you.